Adriann's parents met in the Army and stayed together even through the Minnesota Veterans Home, where her mom, Ann, passed away after a battle with early-onset Alzheimer's disease. Now, she's caring for her dad, Reginald, as he fights Parkinson's disease.
My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 15 years ago, and my dad has Parkinson's. And as they continued to live independently through the years after they retired to Texas, both of the conditions didn't complement each other very well. They were known in town as, hear no evil, see no evil, because Dad would be trying to tell Mom how to drive as they were going different places, and I understand it was quite the comedy show to watch. So through the years, I ended up going back and forth down there to help take care of them. When we finally got the diagnosis, it was pretty devastating, because Mom has been the rock in the family, and she was the person that was always home and always there and instilled the values, and we talked about what would happen if something happened to Dad. It never occurred to us if something happened to Mom. I need a lot of information. I need to understand what I'm looking at, and if at all possible, if somebody can help lay a roadmap for me, I'd love to have that. Unfortunately, this isn't one of those kinds of processes that you go through. It's a journey that is somewhat unique for every family that goes through it.
When you started to look for resources, did you start online? Did you talk to people? Did you start reading books?
I started talking to a therapist, and that was at the advice of the social worker in the hospital. My mom was my best friend in a lot of ways. And so when she was starting to have trouble and starting to really decline, I really wasn't sure what to do with it. I was losing my friend and I was losing my mom, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle that, and I wasn't prepared for what impact that was gonna mean to my life. One of the things that the nurse advocate up here told me to do was to establish and maintain a relationship with their doctors, or whoever their care team was. So if it was physical therapists, if it was the medical supply people, if it was the doctors, the neurologists, whoever was involved on their care team, I needed to be more than just an emergency contact in a folder, which meant making time to go down there and visit them and go to doctor appointments.
But when did you realize then that your caregiving was taking over other parts of your life?
Being primary caregiver for Mom, Dad was in the hospital, still working full time, and being my mother's daughter, I am very independent, fiercely, to a fault sometimes. And so I'm in my mind trying to think of how I'm gonna do all this by myself. I mean, it was never occurred to me, maybe I should ask for help.
Is there a memento or tradition that brings fond memories of your mom?
It's a little card that someone gave to her, but it says, I was trying to think of a way to send you a hug. And my mom was the kind of person that she gave the best hugs ever. She didn't give one of those hugs where you're kind of like standing and burping the person. She gave you the kind of hug that made you feel like you were snuggled into a warm, cozy blanket of acceptance and love and peace. And that was one of the big things that even the staff at the Veterans Home said. I was lucky and I was blessed that there were people that came along to offer me that help when I needed it, and I didn't even know I needed it. But I also know that there were times that I should have asked for help and didn't because I didn't know how, or didn't because I thought I should be able to manage it on my own. And this is not a journey you manage by yourself. It's just not. It truly requires support from the best of the things you have around you. And where there aren't those supports there, you gotta find them, you gotta make them.